All right guys, welcome back to another video. We are on the Civic still. I don't know if you saw my last video, but we installed new coilovers. And today we're gonna continue on suspension parts. I'm excited about this because I've been talking for a while about wanting to redo the full suspension. My original thought was just buying a bushing kit, buying a press, and doing all new bushings. But when I did the coilovers, I found that the rear lower control arm bushing was completely shot. And then when I was looking up rear lower control arm bushings, I figured out that you could just buy new rear lower control arms for the same price as bushings. So with that being said, I also wanted to remove some of the camber in the back. Here, I'll go ahead and show you. You can see how cambered out that back wheel is. So when you lower these Civics, it pushes that rear, well, the rear lower control arm pushes the bottom of the wheel out and cambers it out. So I did a little bit of research, and I found on Max Speeding Rod's website, which that's where the coilovers came from, I found a kit that was rear lower control arms, camber arms, and front upper control arms with camber adjustment. So that goes right along with this build. We're doing it as budget as possible. We're testing out the parts to see how long these budget parts last. Trust me, I know they're not top of the line. They're kind of far from top of the line, but I want to see what we can get away with, because a lot of you guys just want to build your car, you want to have fun, and you don't have the funds to go balls to the wall on a car, especially a Honda Civic, you know. So with that being said, we bought that kit. I pulled the rear lower control arms out and the camber arms. The front control arms are still in the box here. I guess I could still go ahead and show those to you guys. So there's those, but we're not gonna mess with those yet. Today, we're just gonna focus on the rear of the car. The reason being is, one, because I bought new front suspension forks, the thing that your coilovers go in. I bought those new, and I want to, like, I'm gonna, when those are not in yet. So when I go to do those, I'm just gonna tackle the whole front suspension all at once. So yeah, anyway, I'm pretty excited about this because you can kind of see from this angle that the front is not cambered at all and the back is. I like that meaty look on the front. I'm not a huge fan of the camber look, at least today, on the rear. So I want to get rid of that camber and make it look like the front, and then the whole thing should look more meaty. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on this. Jack up the rear of the car. I didn't feel like moving the whole garage around, so I've just got it kind of backed into this little space here. So let's get the car jacked up, get the wheels off, and start removing some of these suspension parts. I know what I have in there right now is aftermarket, no clue what it is. There's also a rear subframe brace that looked like it was kind of halfway installed, maybe some strip bolts or something. I don't know, it looked a little janky, so we'll see what we're doing with there. But let's go ahead, get this thing up in the air and get going. All right guys, we're gonna start by removing this subframe brace that, like I said, is barely on. So got the subframe brace out. Pretty sure I don't have the correct hardware for it because I think a bolt is supposed to go all the way through that subframe, and it did not. They just had it like underneath. So kind of weird, but yeah. Ain't looking good, guys. Okay, let me give you guys a very quick, unfortunate update. So, working on that lower control arm, we discovered that one, we've got stripped bolts in that main, what's that called? The trailing arm. Stripped out trailing arm. The camber adjustment arm at the top, toe arm, maybe, no, it's not toe. Camber arm. It is seized up in there. Can't get the bolt out. So I'm going to stop this right here, do some research, figure out what I really want to do, and I will update you guys right about now. All right, guys, a couple of days later, and we are back. So what I decided to do was basically just order new bolts, and I ordered some lock nuts for those bolts because some of the threaded parts that are on the car were stripped out as well. So I'm just going to cut those threads off and use a nut and a lock nut in place of that. So I'll show that to you guys. Let me go ahead and get the wheel back off and get back to where we were. Let me show you guys what I just had to do. So, first of all, this, where's it at? So, that right there is the threaded part that this bolt goes through and threads to. That part is stripped out. So I'm gonna have to take my cut-off wheel, cut that off, and I'm gonna use a nut. Now, I just spent the last hour trying to get the camber arm out. You've got your camber arm up here that bolts to the back, those two holes back there, and then a bolt goes through here, through your bushing. So I had to cut off, first I cut off the side with the threads, right there, and tried to hammer it with a punch through. That would not work. So then I cut the head of the bolt off and tried to hammer it through, and that would not work. So I had to shave it down enough to where I could just basically pry that out of there, because it is so seized up inside that bushing that I literally could not get it out. So be prepared to have to deal with yours if yours is as old as mine. So now we're gonna have to do the same thing up there, where we run a bolt through and then a lock nut on the other side. But on the bright side, we got it out. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now, cut that bottom threaded part off, finish installing my lower control arm bolts, and put my camber arm in, try to eyeball the adjustment on it. I'm just gonna set it to this, but make it a little bit longer, like the length of this, but make it a little bit longer because I wanna bring that wheel out. So I'll quit talking. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'll update you guys after. Okay guys, so we are kind of done with this side. We've got the camber arm in there. We got our lower control arm in. Everything is tight, thank goodness. So the reason I say it's kind of done is because we're gonna put the wheel on. Once we do the other side, we're gonna put the wheel back on, and then we are going to lower the car down, see how the camber is sitting, see how the coilover height is sitting, and then we are probably gonna have to take the wheels back off and adjust the height and the camber. But making progress. So let's go ahead and do the other side. I'm probably not going to walk you through it because I kind of, in a way, walked you through this side. So let's go ahead and time lapse the other side. I just put the wheel back on, and I figured I might as well just adjust this side while I'm on it. So put the wheel back on. It looks like it might need a little more camber back in it. It's poking quite a bit, but let's lower it down and see where she lands. So lowering it down, you can see that I need to put some camber in it. You can see the front poking a hair, which is how I want it. The back is barely poking at all. So I'm gonna pull some more out of it. All right, guys, we're done, finally. Right side went a lot better than the left, passenger side. You can see I left a tad bit of camber in there still, but there is still a slight bit poking out, kind of like the front. I think it matches pretty well, and I've got the ride height a little high in the rear, and I think I'm gonna make the front match just because of rubbing, comfort, you know, all the stuff that we don't care about. So anyway, right now, let's go ahead and take it for a quick ride, see how it feels, and then we'll do the outro. All right, it's a little dark, guys, so I do apologize, but let's get this thing going. Oh yeah, for sure no more clunking around, which is very nice. Man, I haven't even hit any bumps yet, but I can already tell the thing just feels so much smoother already. I'm real happy with that. I'm wondering how much we're gonna rub, if any. You guys probably couldn't see me, but so I am not overreacting at all. I feel like this thing feels so much smoother, and I really haven't even hit any bumps yet. It's so much quieter than what it was just from replacing all the bushings I did, and it's just like the whole car just feels so smooth. So I am extremely, extremely happy with how everything has came out so far. These coilovers feel fantastic. These control arms and camber adjustment arms feel fantastic. And right now, I am not rubbing whatsoever. Now, like I said, I haven't hit any huge bumps, but I am super, super pleased with this. Okay, so that is going to conclude this video. I do apologize. I feel like this video was a little chopped up, you know, because we got partway through it. I realized there was a bunch of bolts that were seized up, stripped. So I had a thought of going with a whole new rear trailing arm. My ears were popping, sorry. Rear trailing arm, but then I realized that I could just do what I did, you know, get replacement bolts, cut off the threaded parts, use nuts. I didn't actually have to do that on the passenger side, one, because I think I was a little smarter about how I took it apart, and I think I got a little lucky with it as well. But as I assembled it, you guys might have saw, I put a little bit of anti-seize on all the bolts just so we don't have to deal with that again. But overall, I am extremely happy with it. I'm extremely happy with these coilovers. That's the first time I've really driven it with coilovers, and it feels so much smoother than before. And I'm sure it helped quite a bit getting those bushings replaced, because if you look at this right here, there's supposed to be a bushing in there. There is no longer a bushing in there. I mean, these are all torn apart. So, super, super good upgrade. This is all Max Speeding Rods parts. This is a budget build. I know these are not high-end parts, obviously. but it's a budget build, and I want to see what we can get away with, what we can do, because I know there's probably a lot of you guys out there that want to buy these parts or just want to work on your car, and you can't because you're not a rich YouTuber like all these other guys that you watch. I am not rich, but maybe one day I'll be rich, and when I am, I plan on continuing to build Civics. So I know that when I'm watching a YouTuber and he starts buying Lamborghinis and stuff like that, I kind of lose interest because I can't relate to that, you know. So I plan on sticking with this for a while. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you have stuck in this or stuck around for this long. Do me a favor, like and comment, and yeah, thanks guys. I'll catch you in the next one.